Hi, everybody. I'm Diane Brady. I'm here with David Risher, who is the new CEO of Lyft. David, welcome. We're catching you on day 2.
It's
What
great to be
changes have
here.
you
Thanks,
made so
Dan.
far? I've heard about happy hour. I think that's it for... You know what? I love the fact that you did Undercover Boss before anyone even knew you were the boss. So the first thing you did was go and do a Lyft drive. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, it was a Saturday evening. My wife was out of town, and I think the only mistake I made is that I didn't let the communications and marketing guys know about it until after the fact. They were like, "Hey, next time, give us a heads up." But
That's
anyway,
right.
it
That's
was a lot of
right.
fun.
No tipping the boss. Well, I'm intrigued by your background, first of all. Let's start with the basics of what attracted you to this job, because you were in your last job for quite a while, the company you started, World Reader.
Yeah, I was there for 14 years, focused on getting kids reading all around the world so they can reach their potential. And so, yeah, it's a natural question. And look, the short answer is I had been asked to be on the board about 18 months ago of Lyft. And I think what they found attractive about me and why they reached out to me in the first place was my real focus on the customer that I developed over my time, particularly at Amazon, working with Jeff Bezos.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and then they looked at the work I'd done with World Reader and said, this is a person who actually has really good values and really clear values. We know what he stands for and really does want to make the world a better place. And so when they approached me about the idea of throwing my hat in the ring for CEO, I mean, look, my first answer was, it was that's crazy, But my second answer was, you know what, that actually is really an interesting possibility because if I look at my time at Microsoft, where I really learned about competition and how to compete hard, at Amazon, my focus on the customer, as I just mentioned, and then World Reader, this idea of really leading with purpose, but also doing a lot with less. Really being frankly fairly frugal, but having some big results. We put all this together, and I think they work really well at Lyft. So got me super excited about it, and here I am.
Well, so talk about them doing more with less. Is Lyft at a juncture right now where it needs to do more with less? I mean, the recent results were pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, look, we had our biggest quarter ever last quarter in terms of top line, just sort of number of riders we've had. But we're not the only ones who are looking at our financial situation and saying, let's make sure our costs are right sized for what we're trying to do. You know, Drivers want to make a good pay,
Mm-hmm.
and those on the driver's side, and riders want to have a great experience and don't want to pay very much. I mean, that's just a universal truth. And so as we bring, drivers and riders together, we have to figure out a way to do it as efficiently as we can so that we can, for example, not be any more expensive than anyone else there on the market. I don't want to be more expensive than Uber. That's not a good business strategy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the frame we're looking at is what do our riders and drivers need? And then what are the costs that we need to have in order to support, a great business?
Every company always has stakeholders, and of course, every child is precious, so you don't want to choose, but you have this constituency of stakeholders who are the drivers, the riders you mentioned. Where do you see the most opportunity for upside? Especially, there were some talent shortages in the past year. I know there's been a lot of focus on recruiting drivers. Is that still the priority?
You're right. I mean, of course, you can't
We
pick
love
your
them
favorite.
all, but,
But if you
Sophie's
have to,
choice. Yeah.
I sometimes say this to my own daughters. I'm like, I can't pick my favorite, but if I have to, and then I realize it's not even a good joke. You
Yeah.
can't even go
No,
to.
no, no.
So look, for sure, as we came out of COVID, driver supply was the constraint, right? It's no fun as a rider to push a button and then have the closest car be 9 minutes away. In our world where we're all sort of impatient, that feels like forever. So that was the big focus. Now we're at that point. We're now getting to a point where they're much more imbalanced. We have a lot of drivers who come onto the platform really liking the control it gives them, the control over their earnings, the control because they can always drive more, and control over their time. They don't have to kind of clock out in order to go to, a party or whatever it is. So from a driver's perspective, we've got a pretty good value proposition. And so the more drivers are happy, of course, the faster pickups happen, which means the more riders are happy. So it really is a cycle that you kind of have to feed both sides, and you have to be aware where you're in an imbalance, and then kind of correct for that.